a challenging time. We are keen to contain the increasement of the COVID-19 cases, and we will try to isolate those who need isolation. And we are going to ensure people's need for supply are met, and we are keen to contain the imported cases and ensure all links are smooth. And we will try to investigate into all links of people's life. And we kindly ask people to report their travel routes and protect themselves. As of the 7th of January, the vaccination amount has amounted to 18 million in China. So the topic of today's press conference is about the containment measures and price keeping and the supply of the Spring Festival of China. We have the representatives, the Director Generals from the National Reform and Development Commission of China, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs, and the Ministry of Commerce, as well as the National Health Commission. So these VIPs will answer your questions today. Now the floor is open for questions. Please identify yourself. Well, the first question. Thanks, I'm with Xinhua News Agency. Could you brief us on the change of the COVID-19 developments in China? Well, Director General He will answer your question. Thank you for your question. Well, China maintains a steady situation in the containment of COVID-19 cases, so everything is in control, and some regions have been kept under control, and in some places we are still trying to control the situation. In Xi'an of Shanxi province, we are seeing a dynamic control of the region, and the cases are being cleared out. So we are implementing effective measures in the region. In the next steps, we are trying to step up more efforts. In Henan, we reported 175 cases. They are linked to Zhejiang, Shanghai, and Henan, altogether 9 cities. In one region, they reported crowded cases. And they also reported spotted cases in the community level. In Zhengzhou, we have detected some cases that have been detected after the screening out of the cases. This means the community-level communication has been formed. In the Jinhua city of Zhejiang province and the Zhoukou of Henan province, we have reported scattered cases. And on the 8th of January, Guangdong reported 2 cases. So this has shown that the cases have come from overseas. The Zhengzhou is doing everything it can to contain the further spread of the cases and trying to screen out the people and the places. The State Council's joint prevention and control mechanism is trying to guide the containment work of the locality, and we are trying to follow closely the developments of the COVID-19 in each region. And we are trying to put into place the vaccination, the screening, so that the COVID-19 will be contained in China. Now the second question. I'm with CCTV and Chinese channel. So what has NDRC, the National Development and Reform Commission, done in order to ensure the supply in Shanxi province? Director General Xu will answer your question. Well, thank you, the host, and thank you for your question. NDRC is a member as a leading member for ensuring the supply of the people as part of the Joint Prevention and Control Mechanism of the State Council. We have established a regular consultation mechanism together with other ministries and departments. We are keen to ensure people's livelihood, people's supply are met in 4 key areas. First is to guide, coordinate, and monitor the progress. First is about the monitoring. We ensure the supply of grain, oil, and meat and vegetables in the locality. We ensure that this region receive enough supply, and also green lights can be opened for these places. And we monitor the dynamic situation in the regions. Secondly, we guide the locality in terms of transportation, production, and price change in order to stabilize the pricing and ensure the supply in the local region. Third, we coordinate different departments in the areas that are affected by the COVID-19 so that the supply will be increased for the region that are affected. And we coordinate relevant departments to give more supply in terms of the grain, the product oil. And fourth, we monitor the locality's work. And here I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for your interest, because many people have reported the difficulties and challenges in the localities. These problems have also been reported by the self-media. So we have coordinated with the local departments to try to solve these issues in a timely manner. So we attach great importance to the supply, the material supply in the affected regions, including Zhejiang province. As said, we monitor, we guide, the localities in terms of the material supply. So we monitor and guide the localities, for example, the Shanxi province, to ensure the price, ensure the stability of the price, and also the supply is met. After the monitoring, we find that the transportation vehicles has seen a decline in the number. So after that, we coordinated with 6 surrounding regions to better organize, to increase the number of transportation vehicles to Xi'an city. And also we dispatched more heating supplies to Xi'an. And now the supply is abundant for the region. And the pricing for the meat has increased slightly, but the pricing for the vegetable has declined. And the number of transportation vehicles for the supply has maintained steady. And in the next steps, the NDRC will work together with relevant departments and to follow up and ensure that the material supply in Xi'an city and other relevant cities are met. Thank you. And now the next question. Thank you, the host, with Nongshu Net. As the traditional Chinese Spring Festival is around the corner, so could you brief us on the grain and the vegetable market in China? Well, Madame Liu will answer your question. Well, the vegetable and the grain supply is important to people's livelihood. And during the Spring Festival this year, the material supply will meet people's need, no matter for the urban residents and the rural residents. Last year, China's grain output amounted to 13.6 billion jing, or half kilogram. It's a big increase against last year. It increased by 0.5% over the last year. The grain supply has took up altogether 70% of the total material supply. So the grain supply is abundant for the Chinese people. During the Spring Festival, the people can enjoy sufficient grain supply. The vegetable plantation area amounts to 80 million hectares more. It's increased, and the vegetable supply amounts to 3.5 million tons. It's a big increase against last year. So the vegetables output is quite abundant in the northern part of China. And they are entering the harvest period, and they are going to meet the expectation of the market. However, there is a seasonal feature for the vegetables. And the apples, the pears are in good supply. It is expected that the fruit market will enjoy abundant supply. For the meat, like the lamb, the beef, and the eggs, are yielding high result. The poultry and the seafood also will witness good harvest. It is expected that there is a big decrease in the temperature this winter, but we are trying to take more measures to ensure the stability of production and the transportation of the materials, so that our people will enjoy a steady and abundant material supply. And with People's Daily, as the Chinese New Year is around the corner, I have a question for the Ministry of Commerce. So what will you do to ensure the stability of the market? So, Director General Wang will answer your question. Well, thank you for your interest in the market. And the Spring Festival is about 20 days to go, and we're going to welcome the Winter Olympics 2022 in Beijing. However, the COVID-19 is still yielding influence. So it is important to ensure the stability of the supply during the Spring Festival. According to the statistics, the food supply of the Chinese market is sufficient. So that is a good start for the 2022. The food production has witnessed 80 years successively growth, and the vegetable supply is increasing. Recently, the weather in China is quite good, and the transportation is smooth. The food supply enjoys a good foundation. Prior to the Spring Festival, the Ministry of Commerce has called on the markets and the producers to step up the supply, and we asked the online sales platforms to coordinate their supply, and the supply is very good. Altogether, the supply has increased by 30% than the normal period. The price of the grain, oil has kept stable, and the price of the pork decreased by 3.3%, and the eggs price decreased by 0.7%, and the vegetable price decreased by 0.8%. And we encouraged the supply, and the consumption is good in terms of the catering, the flowering, and people's enthusiasm for the skiing and the skating is growing. So we are seeing the new interests growing. The Ministry of the Commerce is keen to implement the guidelines of the central government, and we have formed notices and plans to step up the food supply stabilization during the Spring Festival. So we have made specific plans for this task in order to ensure the food supply during the Spring Festival. We are going to take 4 measures. First, we will urge the supermarkets, the sales market, the hotels, the restaurants to take stricter measures to cope with COVID-19 and to ensure the safety of the production, so that the people can enjoy a safe environment in terms of consumption. Secondly, we guide the commercial departments to increase the supply. For the market, we have guided Xi'an City and the affected regions to classify the regions by the risk levels and to ensure the stabilization of the food supply in the regions. Prior to the Spring Festival, the Ministry of Commerce will provide a special supply to the key regions, including the lamb, the meat, and the beef, so that the localities will enjoy abundant food supply. We will also provide a special supply including the vegetables to the localities. And third, we have established a daily report system for the food supply during the Spring Festival period. And we will coordinate with the relevant departments to respond to the concerned questions of the consumers in a timely manner. Thank you. Thank you. I'm with Phoenix TV. Well, this round of COVID-19 in Shanxi province has reported over 1,900 cases. So what measures has the National Health Commission taken to address the situation? Well, thank you for your question. We have dispatched expert panel and the working teams to Shanxi province after the outbreak of COVID-19 in the region. we're keen. This is done to ensure the safety of the people. So during the cases have kept expanding during a certain period of time after the outbreak. As of the 8th of January this morning, the locality reported 1,992 cases in Shanxi, and regarding the critical cases, 47 cases are critical cases, taking up 2.36% among the total cases. It's much lower than the 7% figure reported for the second half of last year, and 24 critical cases have transformed to normal cases for medical treatment. So this is quite a good news. We are also taking new measures to contain the situation. First, we opened up 3 designated hospitals and 1 standby hospital. We have opened up 3,600 hospital beds. This is enough to meet the demands of the patients. We have also designated 1 hospital to be the recovery hospital so that the confirmed cases can receive recovery instructions in this hospital. We have also dispatched experts in different fields. For example, the traditional Chinese medicine, the communicable diseases, and so on, to Shanxi province. So we have dispatched a huge number of hospital staff, medical staff to the region. And this is done to ensure the high quality response to the COVID-19 situation. And we are confident that our measures will help contain the situation in Shanxi province. And we are keen to intervene in an early period. And most of the cases lie in the elderly and those with critical diseases. So we ensure for these cases that they will be accompanied by each will be accompanied by 1 medical staff. For the communicable diseases, our expert team has a mixture of science background of medical backgrounds. For example, they come from communicable diseases and the cardiac discipline, and so on. So till now, there are 19 elderly who age over 80 that are affected. We have designated special hospital staff to attend to these cases. We are also keen to play the role of the traditional Chinese medicine, and in terms of the therapy, we combined both the Western medicine and the traditional Chinese medicine. So far, everything is in good process. Thank you. Thank you. From the Southern Metropolitan News in China. We watched that there is a special campaign in China. So could you brief us more information on that? Well, Director General He will take your question. Thank you for your question. The village in the city campaign is a special measure in Shanxi province. For the village in the city, the containment is quite difficult and it needs time. On the 3rd and the 4th of January this year, the State Council's Joint Prevention and Control Mechanism worked together with departments in Shanxi province. And we visited residents door to door who lived in the villages inside the cities. And there are 100,000 people, residents of them. So our people visited them door to door and confirmed with them what the challenges and difficulties in people's daily life, and confirmed with them face to face, and whether they have received isolation or not. So after the face-to-face visits, we have screened out the difficulties people face, and we have commanded the mastered information about people in terms of the isolation and the screening. So we make sure that those who need isolation will receive isolation. Those who need nucleic acid testing will be tested. So this is done to solve the to solve the problems of the people. Thank you. From Hong Kong Comment News Agency. As the Winter Olympics is around the corner, what has the NDRC done to ensure the food supply and the stability of the price? Director General Xu will answer your question. Well, thank you for your question. Well, the Winter Olympics will be held during the Spring Festival of China. We are also facing the dual challenge of the COVID-19. It is important to ensure the food supply during the Spring Festival so that they can live a good festival and enjoy the festivity. We are also keen to ensure a successful Winter Olympics in China. So it is important to ensure the diversity of the food supply, and the central government attaches great importance to this task. And the CPC's committee's central government office, and also the central office, the state office of the State Council, have published guidelines to ensure the task to be implemented. So we have published relevant notices to make plans for these tasks. So the general idea is to guide the different regions to ensure the stability of the food supply and make contingency plans. For the Winter Olympics and the Winter Paralympic Games, we have asked targeted regions to follow the regulations and ensure the food supply. Generally speaking, China has done a good job in ensuring the food supply across the nation. Just now, the Ministry of Commerce and the Ministry of Agriculture has introduced their measures in ensuring the stability of price and the food supply in the rural market. So we have laid a solid foundation for ensuring the food supply in China. The supply that matters to people's life is good, and the grain output has achieved a record new high. The supply of pork is good, and the pork's price has restored to a reasonable range. The contingent processing capacity of food grain has kept good. For the regions that is likely to record a turbulence in the food price, we have asked them to ensure the food supply in a steady manner. So the food supply guarantee work is taking solid progress. We have made contingency plans and concrete plans to ensure that the supply of grain, vegetable, and food, pork, and meat is stable. We have also provided allowances for people who live in difficulty, so that they can enjoy abundant material supply. So all in all, the food supply is stable during the Spring Festival, and the price will keep stable during the Winter Olympics. Next steps, the NDRC will work together with other departments to ensure the food supply is sound and stable and during the Winter Olympics period. And we will take precise measures with different localities. And we will ensure the responsibility is implemented to the regional level. And we will closely follow the developments of the COVID-19. So wherever there is a new case, this place will become the key area of our efforts. We will try to ensure the material supply during the Winter Olympics and the Winter Paralympic Games, and also during the 2 sessions in China. The COVID-19 has developed for 2 years, and we have responded to the COVID-19 together with different localities. So we are trying to summarize our experiences and try to spread them and share them with relevant localities. And this is beneficial to improving our efforts in the future. And although we are achieving steady progress in ensuring food supply, the market is running well. There can be time when problems arise in people's life. So we will step up our efforts in screening out the difficulties in people's life, and we will establish a recording system for the problems and try to follow up closely to ensure the problems are solved step by step. Another point is that we will give precise guidance to the local governments. Thank you. Thank you. I'm from China Media Group, the news channel. Well, since the outbreak of Xi'an city, how can the people receive the medical treatment in the region? The representative from the National Health Commission will answer your question. Well, thank you for your question. To receive medical treatment is a basic need for our people. So we are keen to ensure our people receive the medical service in a timely manner, because this matters to our people's life and safety. And the central government attaches great importance to this task. And you may have heard from the news that there is an emergency incident where a pregnant woman falsely gives birth, lost its baby during the COVID-19 period. We have received instructions from the Premier Sun Chunlan that we must ensure that our people receive timely medical service during the COVID-19, and this service must be delivered to our people in a timely manner. For the critical and dangerous cases, we must ensure they receive the medical service immediately, and we should not shield our responsibility. For the patients who are diagnosed with tumor and who are in the treatment period, we must designate special hospitals for them to enjoy the medical service. And also for the pregnant, we must ensure that they will be treated immediately. For the elderly, we must ensure that the community-level medical institutions will deliver the medicines to them door to door. We should not refuse the patients for any excuses. The medical institutions should establish a buffer zone for the cases. This means that the cases will receive medical service once they ensure the protection measures are in place. These measures have played a role, and they have come into effect. While Xi'an has reported some problems during the COVID-19 outbreak, for example, the measures, the guidelines for the central government has not been fully implemented. So, the channels for providing medical service to the local people need to be smoother. And we have dispatched a special investigation team to look into the case of the pregnant woman in the city. And next, we will we will streamline the procedure of medical service in the region so as to protect the needs of the people. The National Health Commission of China will ask different localities to reflect on this case and to make concrete contingency plans so that they can respond to people's needs once the incidents take place. But the Xi'an incident is an individual case. It should not represent or deny the contributions from the health sector across China. I'm from the front coverage. So, what influences has the COVID-19 placed on the production and supply in China? Well, thank you. The Spring Festival is a special period because people will try to consume more poultry products. Well, 2021, China has achieved the target for the pork production half a year in advance. The production of the poultry, the dairy products, and the pork has recorded a new high. So the food pricing is stable for the past year. During the New Year, holiday, the food price has the beef price reported 77.3 yuan RMB, and the lamb reported 78 RMB, and down by 2.9% year on year. And the egg price has increased by 0.8% year on year. So during the the New Year holiday, the pricing is stable and the supply is good. From November to December last year, the pork production has increased by a big margin. The raw pigs that go to the market will increase a lot in its number. So in November 2021, the number of egg supply has increased by 0.5% year on year and 1.2% compared with the same period last year. So from November, the the reserve for the beef has increased by 11%, and the reserve for other meat has also increased. So our food supply will be sufficient to meet people's demands. So lately, we have seen the developments and a rebound of the COVID-19, but this does not create any challenge for the food supply market. Some regions have reported cases of insufficient feed feed, but we have responded quickly to ensure the feed supply. And next, we will coordinate with relevant departments and especially the localities to ensure that the poultry and the meat will be transported smoothly and supplied stably. I'm from the Macau Eastern News Agency. I have a question. How about the vaccination work in China, and what about the progress and the next steps? Thank you for your interest in the vaccination efforts in China. According to the plan of the Joint Prevention and Control Mechanism of the State Council, the different regions in China have followed the regulations and the instructions to press ahead with the vaccination in China. And this is done on a voluntary basis. The vaccination has been progressing well. As of the 7th of January this year, 2.87 billion doses of vaccinations have been done in China, and 470 million doses have been vaccinated among the young people. So the coverage rate is 89% in China. So according to the research, both in China and outside China, the COVID-19 vaccination is effective in decreasing the number of critical cases and also the mild cases. So we still encourage everyone to wear facial masks and keep social distancing and receive vaccination. So these measures continue to prove the most effective measures for responding to COVID-19. And we urge everyone to do your own bit to contribute to the eradication of COVID-19 cases. And next, we encourage more people to get involved in the vaccination. And we will try to provide more higher quality service to the people in terms of vaccination. Thank you from Hong Kong. Just now, Director General Guo briefed us on the response and treatment measures for COVID-19. So we'd like to know more about it. Could you brief us more? Thank you. The treatment for COVID-19 cases has yielded successful results, especially in terms of the treatment, the recovery rate, and the decreasement of and a decline of the mortality rate. The critical cases percentage among all the cases kept at 5.7% in China, and we have not witnessed new deaths for a long time. So we have a threefold experience. First, we have a big number of professional expert team. And these experts can respond immediately once there is an emergency. So we are proud of our professional expertise. They are crucial to ensuring the success of response to COVID-19. Secondly, we isolate the confirmed cases. This is important to help respond to the COVID-19. And we have collected the wisdom of all relevant departments. The third experience is to provide similar and repetitive successful treatment, and we keep following up and monitoring the developments of the cases. And we have kept a clinical observation for the early during the early detection period. And we have taken the intervention measures that prove effective. Another experience is that we combine the synergy of the Western medicine and the traditional Chinese medicine, and we encourage the cross-disciplinary treatment. And for one case, we have one special treatment. Even for the critical cases, few of them need complicated treatment or the application of ECMO equipment. And by now, the number of critical cases has declined a lot. Thank you. The floor is open to 2 more questions. From daily economic news, how about the daily supply of the daily necessities in Xi'an? Director General Wang will take your question. During the outbreak of COVID-19 in Xi'an city, the whole country has watched closely the developments in the region. The commercial departments at all levels in Shanxi province has reported difficulties in delivering food to the people, and the people face difficulties in shopping and getting food supply. But as we intervened, the situation has improved. We have kept in close contact with the Xi'an Municipal Commercial Bureau. So we have taken measures in 3 ways. First, we cleared up the supply channel. We have dispatched government officials to open up green lights to ensure people's supply are met. For the transportation vehicle drivers, we have granted them special gift packages. So far, the daily necessity supply reserve is abundant. So 22 of the sales market is running smoothly. The daily imported products in the wholesale market amounts to 8,000 tons per day in Xi'an, and the price of the vegetables, the pork, has declined to the previous level. Shanxi province has published 3 name lists of the key enterprises that need to ensure the safety of the enterprises and ensure the job supply of its employees. By yesterday, 1,722 shopping stores, 1,045 have been reopened, and this is 30% higher than before we intervened. So we also deliver the food to the classified regions. Now we still face a problem. The percentage of the people coming back to the posts of the wholesale market needs to be increased. As of yesterday, the Prevention and Control Guiding Department of Xi'an published a new measure, that is to provide a subsidy to the people and to the transportation, and they introduced protective measures to restore the production, especially for the transportation and delivery sectors. So during this round of COVID-19 outbreak, we have summarized experiences in 3 ways. First, we must ensure the containment of COVID-19 and the production at the same time. The government, the synergy of the government and the society and the people is very important. Secondly, we must implement the precise containment. And at the same time, we must ensure the enterprises run smoothly and the people go back to their jobs. Fourth, we must carry out classified and graded protection measures and make sure that targeted measures are given to different groups of people. One last question. Thank you from Hongxin News. We noticed that in the middle and large-sized cities, the vegetable price stay high. So as the Chinese New Year is around the corner, what will you do to ensure the stability of the pricing of the vegetables and the food? Thank you for your question. I have seen your interest in the food supply during the Spring Festival period. Now I will introduce the market situation again. The agricultural production is up to the influence of the climate and the outbreak of the disease. And it's also subject to the turbulence of the market. You mentioned the change of the pricing of the vegetables. This is related to the production level in the northern part of China and also other factors. But the change is periodic. It's not long-term. Generally speaking, the supply is increasing and the pricing is coming back. For 6 consecutive weeks, the vegetable price has declined. And judging from the pricing for the vegetables in Shanxi province, the supply is good and the pricing is stable. In Beijing, Xinfadi market, the daily supply is 23,000 tons per day. In Shanghai, the daily supply is 5,000 tons, a slight decrease. In Guangzhou, the food and fruit supply amounts to 4,300 tons and over 1,000 respectively. So it's basically the same level as compared with the level before the COVID-19 outbreak. So the pricing, though with slight increasement, but it declined to the original level again. We are keen to ensure the food supply, stability of the food supply, and also the stability of the pricing during the Spring Festival period. Secondly, we will ensure the vegetables will be transported from the south part of China to the north. And third, we will open green channels for transporting the fresh products, so that different regions will be connected and the supplies will be stable for different regions. And we will strengthen the monitoring of the food supply information to ensure the stability of the market. Well, thank you for your introduction and thank you for your interest in our job, in our work. So that's the end of today's press conference. Thank you.